Good morning. For today's lesson, we'll be looking at the World Wide Web, WWW. Last week, we learned about facilities on the internet. And we said facilities on the internet are the services that are made available on the internet for internet users to use. And we said the World Wide Web is one of the facilities that can be found on the internet. So for today's lesson, we'll be looking at this facility on the internet. That's the World Wide Web. So at the end of this lesson, you should be able to be familiar with World Wide Web, web page, website, and website address. So that's the main objective for today's lesson. We'll start by looking at what World Wide Web is. Now, I hope some of you are familiar with what a World Wide Web is. When you talk of a World Wide Web, that's WWW, which is also known as the web. It's a collection of electronic documents stored on a web server or web servers connected to the internet around the world. When you talk of web servers, we are referring to computers that have electronic files or that have stored all the documents on the internet for other computer to have access to those files on the internet. So a web server is just a computer on the net that stores files or the files on the internet. Now, the World Wide Web was invented by Tim Berners-Lee in 1991. So in 1991, this facility was developed, and each electronic document contains information. So as I said earlier on, I said the World Wide Web consists of a collection of electronic documents, and each of these documents contains information. A single electronic document on a web page, so on a web, is called web page. So whenever you access a single document or electronic document on the web or the World Wide Web, each of that document is called a web page. Web pages are created by web developers. So these pages are being created by persons or human beings who have done web design or who develop web, that's the WWW, by using an artificial web language called hypertext markup language. So that's the language they use in writing that web page. That's the hypertext markup language. A web page on a website has an address which is called Uniform Resource Locator or website address. A web page on a website has an address which is called Uniform Resource Locator or website address. So for you to access a web page of a website, you have to enter the address of this website before you can display the electronic documents of that website. That's the web pages. So every website has its own uniform resource locator or a website address that needs to be entered to display the web pages from that website. Web pages may contain information in the form of text, images or graphics, sound, video, and hyperlinks. So whenever a web page is opened, what we see is either text, image, or graphic, sound, that's audio, video, and hypertext. Someone may ask, what is a web page? We have explained what a web page is. So let's say, assuming on your phone, you enter a website address, let's say www.myjoyonline.com. the page that opens is what we refer to as a web page. And that page contains text, images, graphics, sound, video, and hyperlinks. If not all, it may contain two or one of them. When we talk of hyperlink in a web page, we are referring to the colored text or the underlying text that we see in web pages. And whenever this link is being clicked, it moves to the next web page. So hyperlinks are found in web pages to help enable users of the internet to jump from one web page to another web page when browsing on the internet. So a hyperlink is a link on a web page that enables a user to jump or move from one web page to another when clicked. A web page can be opened and viewed on World Wide Web by using a browser. And I hope you are familiar with a browser. A browser is an application software that is mostly installed on computers to help the computer to access the internet. So a browser helps to connect or have a display of websites or web pages. A collection of web pages is called a website. So when you have two or more web pages, we call it a website. And to display the web page of a website, the website address must be entered in the URL box of the address box in the browser. We have talked about URL box or the address box in the browser. So location or a box in the browser where website address are being typed. In browsers, we have two main boxes that are used to search for information. We have the search box and the URL box or the address box. So the address box is the main place that we type in the Uniform Resource Locator or the website address, which almost starts with the www. So that's where we type in the website address. Now, when we talk of a website address or Uniform Resource Locator, we are referring to a link of text, or we can say that a string of text or characters used to open a web page of a website on World Wide Web. To a website address or Uniform Resource Locator is a link of text or characters, or we can say that it's a string of characters used to open web pages of a website on www. Now let's look at some examples of website address. I hope some of you have been using website address to search for information from a particular website. Even as you are coming to do your exercise, you'll be typing in a website address in order to open the web page for you to get your information. That's www.bilischool.com. So that one is an example of a website address or Uniform Resource Locator. So we have the first one to be Microsoft.com. You can start with the www.microsoft.com. The next one we have bilischool.com. We have GhanaToday.com. Then we have Wikipedia.com. That's all for today. We'll end here. But before you leave, I want you to do this exercise and submit on your website. The first question is, define the following terms. So you have to define what has been listed here. The first one is World Wide Web. The second one we have web page. The third one we have website. The fourth one we have website address. Then the last one we have hyperlink. Make sure you do this exercise and submit on time. For next week, we'll be looking at internet protocols. Internet protocols. If you come across any textbook that has this topic or a topic under internet, make sure you read more and prepare for next week's lesson. Thank you and stay safe. Bye.